Hey everyone, welcome to our video, podcast, YouTube, all the things. This is Good, Brave, and Heroic, and I'm Joanna, and this is my husband, Eric. And this is,
Hi.
Oh yeah, hi. This is our third baby. So I'm due May, so I don't know what this is gonna look like then, or a little after that, we'll see. So today we decided to talk about just some things that are on our minds and our hearts. That's just been kind of a theme for us. And we each kind of have like our own perspective on sort of the same theme almost, just different words. So for me, it's based on a lot of little different things that I've been working on. And as we were talking, I realized that these are things that I've been working on for a few years now. And they've just evolved. So for me, if I were to sum it up, it's living out joy. Excuse me, living out joy and practicing gratitude. So I think that sums it up for me.
Yeah.
What's that for you?
I'm just here for the ride. I'm here for vibes.
It's so funny how we think, because when I want to introduce something, I feel like I need to give an outline of what's going to happen. And then I'm like, all right, now let's just see where it goes and how it flows. But for you, it's kind of just like, hey, we're going to talk.
My brain, I have to start talking for it to get going. But I would say that the whole concept of like gratitude and practicing gratitude, practicing joy, which you shared a quote with me earlier that I think you definitely need to share because it was super insightful about practicing joy and happiness. Do you remember?
I might remember the paraphrasing.
That's all that matters.
Okay, great.
Yeah. So just the general concept of that is something that I'm growing in because that's not something that really comes natural to me.
Gratitude or joy?
Like practicing it.
Oh, okay.
I'm not gonna sit here and say joy doesn't come natural to me. That sounds so morbid.
Yeah.
But I think that is something that God calls us to. On top of that, I think that there's like this huge benefit towards practicing that as well, as far as your general outlook in life. I'm losing my voice, by the way, so please bear with me, because they're probably like, what's going on with his voice?
I've been losing my voice since like
since Kaya.
October.
Since Kaya was born.
No, since everyone got sick and
yeah.
I don't know what happened.
So anyway, huge benefits to like your outlook in life, but also your marriage, if you're married, your kids and your relationship with them, relationships with people in general, your business, whatever. Just practicing gratitude is something that could really like change your life, I think. And so that's something that I'm starting to realize. A small example of that is just gratitude journaling, which is not something I used to do. And I haven't done it in a while, but I did start doing it. And essentially the way that I did it was practicing or writing 3 things a day that I was grateful for. And in the beginning, that was like really different, really weird.
I was just gonna say it was weird for me.
Yeah, because it's not something that I'm used to.
Mm-hmm.
Like, and there's several components of it that I'm not used to. It's the slowing down aspect, the actual writing down of something you're grateful for. And I think that we generally are grateful for things in the back of our mind, but practicing gratitude is about intentionally bringing those things from the back to the front. And that's something that can feel unnatural, but it should feel natural. And I think the realization of how natural that should be so far is the biggest impact that it's had on me.
Yeah, it might surprise some of you, but I am not a natural at that either. I am not good at Let me rephrase that. I am practicing at improving in being present, which involves a lot for me because I'm doing something and I am present to a certain extent, but I'm also thinking about what's next and what needs to be done next. Because I'm always like, go, go, go. So I am grateful, very grateful for things and people. But I don't think that, and I'll express it too, but I don't think that I sit down with myself and express enough the laundry list of things that I am grateful for or that I should be grateful for. And I know a lot of people don't like the word should because it's like almost shaming, but I'm going to use the word should because not like trying to be perfect in that, but more so keeping myself accountable. Because as I've read and as I've learned and as I've talked to God about it, the way that you can live out joy is through practicing gratitude. I've been trying to like figure out, is there another way? Is there a formula? But I found that this is the answer. That is the most effective way. It's practicing gratitude. And I'm not gonna lie, there are times where I try to start journaling things that I'm grateful for, and I'm like, twiddles thumbs. What do I write? Oh my goodness, why am I so ungrateful? Then the perfectionist in me is like, shame on you.
Something you intended to be good now becomes a spiral.
Yeah. And I'm like, well, okay then. So it is something that isn't natural to me. And then it is something that is a little bit, it's very different for me. And I think maybe that just has to do also with when you go to school, you're not taught to sit there and journal or how to do that, or sit there and write out your feelings, or sit there and journal things that you're grateful for. And you're not typically doing that in your home either. So, I wasn't. So, I would get yelled at. I'm sure you did too. Like, oh, you should be grateful for your food. Eat it. Because, los niños de África no tienen.
Yeah.
And you should be grateful for it. And it was like, I am. I just don't like it.
Right.
So yeah, it's not natural for me. But there's a reason why I'm on this, I'm determined on this journey to live out a super joyful life. Not that I'm not happy, not that I'm not grateful. I am. I love my life and the people and the life I've built. I just want to be intentional in not always being in my head and always being on tasks and making everything a task, and being present in the moment and finding joy in the ordinary.
Right. And I think that's what it really is, because intentionally pursuing being grateful is really about limiting your focus on all of the reasons why you would be unhappy. Because I think as human beings, no matter our situation, we're going to find a reason to be unhappy. Naturally, we're always going to be wanting more. Like, you could be rich, you want more. You could be poor, you want more. And so we have plenty of reasons to be unhappy. We have a lot of things that, we've been in a trial for about to be 3 years. We've been in a wilderness for about to be 3 years, right? And there have been pockets where God has shown his favor, where God has shown his grace, and we've held on to those things. When it gets hard is when we're in an extended period of time of being in the trial, waiting for God, right? Where, like, for example, it was 3 years ago soon where we were like, yeah, let's go move with my mom for a little bit and saved for a house. And God was like, well, I got another plan for this.
1 to 2 years.
Yeah. 1 to
'Cause we
2.
got
At one point, I
it.
think we even said 6 months.
Yeah.
Because we weren't in there in a completely different situation,
Yeah.
right? And lo and behold, the crazy part about it is, and I think about this frequently, is that if we really wanted to, we could have been out of this.
On our own strength. Sure.
Yeah, we could have done it on our own strength. However, we would have circumvented, passed by, got around God, and not gotten everything that He's taught us. And that doesn't mean it hasn't been hard, though. And you notice we've talked about this at length, right? But choosing to be grateful is something that I think God is trying to teach both of us, because when you can be grateful, even at your lowest points, you're not going to go outside of God to look for something that is not there, that you can only find in Him. You're going to be able to look to the gifts that He has given you, like our beautiful daughters, and say, hey, no matter what is going on, look at how rich I am.
Mm-hmm.
Right? And the only way you get there is by trial. Actually, remember the image that I sent you this morning? I want to share that.
Right.
Charles Spurgeon, in his devotional morning and evening, the one for today, March 4th, which is when we're recording. This is the morning portion, and it says, my grace is sufficient for thee. I'm not going to read the whole thing because it's pretty long, but I just want to read some little pieces here. If none of God's saints were poor and going through trial, we would not know half as well the consolations of God's divine grace. When we find the wanderer who has nowhere to lay his head, but can still say, still I trust the Lord. When we see the poor person starving on bread and water, who still glorifies Jesus. When we see the bereaved widow overwhelmed in affliction and still having faith in Christ, what an honor that reflects on the gospel. God's grace is illustrated and magnified in the poverty and trials of believers. I'm going to read the whole thing. It's so good. And it's not that long. It's a paragraph. Saints, bear up under every discouragement, believing that all things work together for their good, and that out of all apparent evil, a real blessing shall ultimately spring. That their God will either work a deliverance for them speedily, or most assuredly, He will support them in their trouble, as long as He is pleased to keep them in it. That part was crazy. As long as He is pleased to keep us in the trial. That's a whole sermon series. That's not even a sermon. This patience of the saints proves the power of divine grace. There is a lighthouse out at sea. It is calm at night. I cannot tell whether that building is firm. The tempest seas must rage around it, and then I shall know whether it will stand. So with the Spirit's work, if it were not on many occasions surrounded with tempestuous waters, we should not know that it was true and strong. If the winds didn't blow upon it, we would not know how firm and secure it is. The masterworks of God are those men and women who stand in the midst of difficulties, steadfast, unmovable. Calm mid the bewildering cry, confident of victory. He who would glorify his God must set his account upon meeting with many trials, aka you better be ready. No man can be illustrious before God unless his conflicts be many. If then your path be of much trials, rejoice in it, because you will the better show the all-sufficient grace of God. As for his failing you, never dream of it. Hate the thought. The God who has been sufficient until now should be trusted until the end. Hold it back the tears. But it's hard. It's hard when you're going through trials. And it reminds me, I was talking to, like, while we're going through all these trials, recently we've been seeing favor from God. We're not exactly out of it, but we've been seeing God moving slowly. And one of the things was that I'm transitioning, you know this already, but I'm sharing it for their behalf. I'm transitioning the video side of the business to a new focus and a new strategy. And God opened the door for me to talk to some coaches that do it for free. Like I still had to work for it, but I won a package of 3 free coaching sessions. And I was on my first call with this guy. And I told him, like, yo, I gotta make this work. Like, our situation is real.
Told who this?
The coach.
Oh, okay.
His name is Rob.
I didn't.
Is that what you wanted? I wasn't sure. I wasn't sure. Like, we talked about this.
My mind
Thought I was talking about God?
thought you were talking about a client.
Mm-mm.
Like, you told the client this. I was like, what?
No.
And then I was
No.
like, he
Right.
meant God, maybe.
The whole thing about it is that, like, I have all these skills, but my weakness is marketing and business. I've talked to you about this. So I need to grow on the marketing and business side. I'm fine with creating nice videos, but selling, all these limiting beliefs that I had were holding me back for a long time. So this is on the business side. I tell Rob, I'm like, Rob, I gotta make this work. I have to learn how to market. I have to learn how to get myself out there because I'm holding myself back. I didn't say those words, but I said, I gotta make this work. And he said, I'm gonna stop you there. You don't gotta make this work. You get to make this work.
It's good.
I was like, oh my God, con hielo. No, but seriously, all jokes aside, I was like, oh snap. Immediately, I thought about you and the girls. And it was a shift. Instead of thinking, I have to make this work because my family needs me, my immediate thought was, I get to make this work for my family. Huge mindset shift. Where, yeah, I'm in a difficult position. This is where God brought me, I believe, right? Maybe I made some mistakes along the way, but God is still in control. This is where God brought me to teach me something. I know he wants me to learn things about myself, things about who I am. He wants me to grow for what he's calling me to in my life. It's all for his glory. And my family gets to benefit from it. But instead of thinking, oh my goodness, look at this situation. Look at how dire it is. Look at how tough it is. We want to get out of this so bad, and thinking, I have to make this work. Or if not, I'm going to go get a job at Chick-fil-A. And it's like, no.
Why Chick-fil-A?
I don't know. So free chicken sandwiches. So, so instead thinking, I actually am in a position where I get to do this. There are people who won't even have this chance. And whether I'm able to do it or I fail, I know I'm going to learn something. And I know that in the end, God got me. And he has my family. Totally different perspective. Now I feel grateful for being in the position I'm in. That made me work harder. And I was already working pretty hard, right? But it made me work harder because, like, man, this is a privilege. I have something that I have a true service that I can offer to people that will benefit them. Whereas before, I'm thinking about, I need to get the finances going for my family. And I'm thinking about me, right? And I'm thinking, dang, do people want this? Dang, do people see this? And, meanwhile, everybody in the world want to make content. All the coaches, all the course creators.
They need it.
They need it. It's something that it's going to help their business greatly.
And they know
Meanwhile, I got all these skills and I'm just sitting on them. And I'm worried that nobody wants this. And it's literally one of the most exploding fields right now. So sometimes we have perspectives about things in our life or in our job or whatever, where we're looking at it from the wrong direction. Mm-hmm. We're looking at it from a specific bent And God wants to shift our perspective and make us look at it from a more grateful perspective, from a position of joy. Like, no striving. He doesn't want me to strive. He wants me to enjoy my work. It reminds me, remember when I shared with you that about the YouTube channel, where God said to me one day, he was like, if you're not going to enjoy this, then you shouldn't even do it. Because I had gotten so focused on doing what God told me that I wasn't enjoying it anymore. I was just trying to desperately put out a video every week because I was so, and it was a good reason. Like, I wanted to please God. But it became about that so much that I wasn't enjoying it anymore, because every time I would fail, I'd be upset. Or if I missed a video or something happened that stopped me from making a video, or I didn't know what to make a video on and I was still early on. And all of a sudden, he's like, well, if you're not enjoying this, there's no purpose to it. This is supposed to be a blessing to you. How many times does God do something in our life that is meant to be a blessing to us and we treat it like it's a curse? We just want to get out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But it's there to bless us. It's there to keep us. It's there to prosper us. Maybe not physically, but emotionally. Maybe not emotionally, but maybe mentally. Maybe not mentally, but spiritually. Or maybe in every area with due time. But we're too in our heads.
Mm-hmm.
Practicing gratitude isn't easy. We're not sitting here talking about this topic like we're experts.
Oh, we're still in the thick of it.
We're still in the thick of it. When we get Brene Brown to come on, then we'll be good. But
when you were talking about mindset shifts, I really had to enunciate that because it was going to come out all wrong. When you were talking about that, I feel like I've been going through so many different shifts for a while now. And one of those is definitely rewording or relabeling a lot of things. So, for example, the I get to, I've also been learning now for some time. And I've been trying to practice that kind of self-talk. It also reminded me of a time when, so I feel like I can be a pretty resourceful person, and I like to do my research. I'm the researcher kind of person. I'm reading a lot, not necessarily books, but I'm reading a lot of articles and things like that, so that I could, for my own, like, feeling secure enough that I know what I'm talking about. Yeah. And it's not just my ideas and my opinions.
Yeah, you like to be well informed.
So it's very interesting when I'm put in a position, and we're about to get kind of vulnerable here. It's very interesting when I'm put in a position where I am the point person. And I have to, not that I have to have all the answers, but I'm expected to have answers. And I'm like, wait a minute, I gotta do research or something because I don't got all the answers. And it's funny because it's something that God's been working on me with, because I do.
Wow.
I have been doing this for so long.
Sorry, I just didn't expect that. You were just like, I don't got all the answers, and God's been working with me because I do. And I was like, oh, wow, yes, amen, hallelujah. You could take offering now. Somebody pass the plate, pass the plate. Not
that I have all the answers, because I don't, and I'm not an expert at everything, but I have, God has been trying to show me that He has been so graceful to put me in so many different positions, whether professionally or outside of that or in ministry, that has allowed me to gain so much experience and allowed me to become a resource. Yeah. But I don't see it that way all the time.
Right.
And so God has been telling me a lot of the times, He was like, you are the resource. You're not finding anything because you are the resource. And I'm like, oh.
So powerful.
So At my job, one of my coworkers, she had CC'd someone who was asking for help with something. And she CCs me. I'm sorry, she forwards it to me. She forwards it to me and CCs me because she replies to this person and says that she introduces me and says, Joanna's the expert on blah, blah, blah. And I was like, what? Who? What? Maybe she means someone else is CC'd on this. No, she said Joanna. And that in that moment shifted my mind. I was like, but I am the person that people reach out to for this.
Right.
That is my role. And I do know the answers. And when I don't, I know where to look.
Wow.
And that was such a graceful correction from God for me, because it speaks to just how I see myself and then versus how God sees me, and how powerful words can be in the way that you are developing or allowing yourself to develop whatever it is that you're trying to do. And so I was like, wow, okay, I do need to see myself as that, because I am that.
Mm-hmm.
And I can't hide outside of that. It's not humble to hide in the, she might know.
Yeah.
Because it's not true. This is something that I've been working at really hard. So I am knowledgeable in that. And I still have a hard time saying, I'm not going to sit here and call myself an expert at anything. I'm going to be like, well, I'm an expert in blah, blah, blah. No, I don't like the word. But I do have to give God glory in not hiding and then calling it humility and then not giving God the glory in that way.
Yeah.
But just show up as myself. That is showing up as myself. Yeah. Like God poured all this in. Now let it do what it's supposed to do. So totally veered off, but.
What you mean? Go ahead.
But so part of the reason why the practice of joy and gratitude has become so important to me is not just for my own health. I know that we're in this era of healing and digging through our trauma and stuff. I don't want to just focus on that. I want to focus on joy too, because that's healing.
Yeah.
That's a different angle to attack trauma in, where you don't always have to be in your feelings and face head on every trauma and every little thing that has been said or done. It's enjoying. And I want to do that.
Yeah.
And I want to learn that well, and I want to teach it to my kids well, and I want to be present in that well and not be present with the past trauma.
Yeah.
All of the time. There's a time and place for things, and it's not always about the trauma, and it's not always about having to fix that all. Like, just leave it to God. Sometimes I just want to, it's exhausting.
Yeah.
It's exhausting. So yeah, and my intention is in doing that is for my own health, but also because I want our girls to have that be natural for them. And we were talking earlier, and our girls have such different personalities that I can see, okay, well, they both need this, but in what ways do we tailor it?
Yeah.
And the best way to introduce that to them is for us to practice it and live that out.
Yeah.
And it reminded me of when you were talking, Kaya, remember when the other day she was super excited about something, and she was so excited about, I don't know what she was trying to do, but she was so excited about doing something that she was like speeding past the moment because she was so excited. And so we had to stop her and like tell her, hey, like you can do this, and then you can do the other thing that you want to do, but just take it one at a time. Like enjoy the moment, enjoy be excited about this thing right here. Sit with it.
You want to, sorry to interrupt you, but I just think I want to give a really powerful example that I just realized about, because Kaya is very similar to me. She gets very excited about things, and I see a lot of the ways that I acted as a child and still do as a man in some ways. I've seen her do it, and that was one of the biggest ways that people like dimmed my light because I was too excited. I was too much. Shout out to PS, Pastor Sharon, for her sermon this Sunday talking about, PA really
sermon.
preached, yeah. But it was kind of like a dual sermon where she talked about the muchness. We have to ask her who that talk was from because I want to hear it. But anyway, it was one of the biggest ways that people kind of made me feel like I was being too much. So I stopped. I kept trying to pull back on that natural excitement that I have. And so we've been trying to like nurture that in Kaya. Here's a really big one, and it's not even me doing it, it's you. But there's so many levels to this. When Kaya's eating something that she's really excited about, like a dessert or a sorpresa. We call the little chocolate eggs with a surprise in it. When she was really, really little, that was one of the first desserts she had. So it was always, you're going to give me a sorpresa, a surprise? Or when we tell her now, we have a surprise for you, Kaya. She's like, what is it? 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 And we're like, Kaya, it's a surprise. You gotta wait. But what is it? What is it? She's so excited. And so one time recently, she was eating something that we got for her, something that was a dessert, and she was like demolishing it. And you were like, Kaya, you're really like excited about this or whatever. He said, do you like it? She's like, yeah. And you were like, why don't you slow down and let's enjoy it? And then she started slowing down and you were like, what does it taste like? And now she's taking slower bites. And you're asking her questions. And it's like, she's able to slow down. Meanwhile, when I was a kid, in the same situations, they did their best. Yeah. Let's start off by saying that. Eric, slow down. Nobody's going to steal your food. Immediately. Shame. Because I just got pointed out in front of my whole family. Was that their intent? No, they probably were just.
They probably had good intentions.
They had good intentions, probably.
It's good for you to slow down.
They want me to slow down. They want me to enjoy my food. They know that it's important. But the whole, like, especially the tone, the way it was said, and you carry those feelings with you into adulthood. And all my life, in all the situations when I get excited, a negative response. Eventually you get to the point where you're like, I need to hide. What we're trying to do with our daughters is teaching them to be healthy and also that they don't have to hide. Mm-hmm. Right? And so I'm really grateful for that. And, you know, I don't say that to like disparage or put down my families. I say families because my parents were divorced, but my family is in a way. But I'm just really grateful that, like, shout out to our generation because we're doing a lot of the work.
Yeah.
I know we get made fun of because, like, we low key are inventing gentle parenting, and a lot of people aren't doing it well, right? They're just like doing permissive parenting and stuff like that. And some people are super against it, right? But we're trying.
Yeah.
We're trying to fix some stuff that is not okay.
Yeah.
We're trying to get better at things. And you and I, we're trying. We're like, we tried the gentle parenting thing and like we're still trying to figure it out because didn't nobody teach us how to be parents. You know what I'm saying? There's no class you go to. When you have a kid, they give you a bill from the hospital and say, all right, go home, figure it out. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, well, okay, you know. And man, am I just so grateful that our generation is doing some of these things and trying to grow in gratitude. It reminds me of the reel that I saw this morning where it was a cool creator. She was just talking about shifting your perspective. And she was like, again, I get to. She's washing her dishes. And she's like, I don't have to wash my dishes. I get to wash my dishes. I have dishes that my family can eat on, that I can clean for them so that we can have another meal. It's like, yo, I know that some of this sounds cheesy, but yo, do you want to be bitter about your life because your focus is on the negative? Or would you rather just be a little bit cheesy, but at least you're happier? At least your family feels like you're in a better mood, right? Because, you know, like Latino culture, for example, we just always be in a bad mood. I don't like that about our culture. I want that to change for our family dynamic. It's like a lot of bad stuff happens. But how amazing is it when you were a kid, when you walked into a house of another family and everybody was just in a good mood and people talked to each other and you saw healthy relationships? That home became a safe haven. Mm-hmm. Maybe your home was a little tumultuous. Maybe it wasn't. Maybe your home was like just normal. But there's something about healthy that hits different. And a healthy home for children is just such a huge blessing. And it's not just about the kids. It's also about.
Yeah.
Because when you're in a good mood, your mood affects me a lot. I don't know I think it affects me way more than it affects you, but I know it affects you. But like, if you're in a bad mood, back like 2 years ago, I would just shut down. You wouldn't even have to like direct anything. I would just be like, it was like a fear response. And I wouldn't be able to get anything done. If it had to do with me, like I did something, forget about it. Shut down for a week, done. You ain't getting nothing from me. Like I just couldn't, right? So imagine how much you're pressing into gratitude, how much that could affect your family dynamic. It doesn't just affect you. It doesn't just affect your kids. It doesn't just affect your wife. It affects everything. Imagine how much of a blessing that could be.
Yeah. And that's why, so part of the reason why I'm practicing this or trying to is because I want it for my own health, because I'm used to seeing everything that needs to be fixed all the time. Mm-hmm. And that gets me in a bad mood because I feel like it's never ending, or I feel like maybe I'm with people that aren't putting in the work. And while I may be right in some of those things, I don't want to only think about those things.
Yeah.
Something I used to practice a lot, and I still kind of try to, is make the ordinary moment an adventure.
Yeah.
And we don't have all of the resources right now to actually do all of the things that we wish that we could do. But if I could make grocery shopping the biggest adventure in the world that the girls ask for,
and they love it,
I'm gonna do it. I'll do cartwheels if I have to down the aisle to make it like,
you ain't doing no cartwheels right now.
Don't test me. I did push-ups. Remember when I was pregnant with Lily at the baby shower?
Nah, but push-ups and cartwheels are two different things.
I was like 7-8 months pregnant. Anyway. But I'm gonna do that. And I do that on purpose because I want the kids to also learn, while experiences are nice and they're beautiful, we're not always going to have access to them, and you can't live off of you can't always be living off of experiences to get your high. You have to be present in the moment, and like God, make a way where there's no way.
Yeah.
You know, find the way, find Find the joy in the moment. Find the whatever. Make it magical. And I try to do that so much for the girls because I really want them to find something so simple and make it beautiful and find the beauty in that. And make them curious. So like when you were talking about when she's eating something that she really enjoys and she's like, and she's not taking a breath, and she's taking barely like the appropriate bite size. Anyway, I'm like, whoa, one, I don't want you to choke. Two, we need to chew. Like I know all the reasons why it's important for my kids to chew their food and, health reasons or whatever. But I also don't want to shame her. So I ask her questions to make her curious.
Yeah.
So that she learns how to navigate her excitement and her big feelings.
Yeah.
So that when I'm not there to ask her questions, she's like, I wonder why this is making me so, is it this? Is it that? Is it this? Mm. So I'll ask her things like, what does it taste like? What does it feel like? Is it soft? Is it cold? Is it crunchy? And I'm giving her words to describe that feeling to help her to sit with that and to slow down and enjoy the moment.
Yeah.
And decide, do I want to keep feeling this big excitement or maybe I'm not feeling excited? Maybe I'm feeling loved. Or maybe I'm feeling both. Lately, Kaya's been asking me a lot more, are you happy, Mom? Are you happy? Which sometimes I'm like, dang, I must not be happy looking right now.
She asked because she's picking something up.
Yeah. But
that gonna be messing me up when she asks that. Are you happy, Dad? And she has this look of concern on her face because she knows that you're not.
Especially when she asks me that when we're eating, because she's become picky. She's at that age, which is normal. And so I've had to learn, like, how do I answer this so that she doesn't feel like it's her fault? Because my feelings are not her fault. But I also want to teach her, like, that there's a cause and effect too. And that it's okay to feel different things at the same time. So I'll say, I have to really analyze what I'm feeling too. And so I take a minute. I'm like, what am I feeling? I don't know. So I'll say, I am happy and I'm feeling frustrated because you're not being a good listener.
Yeah.
So I'm having a hard time right now. And so, like that, she kind of gets it. And sometimes she even points out her own, she's like, I'm furious. And I'm like, okay. She just learned that word. Anyway, so I really want to model joy and gratitude because I want our girls to have that to some degree come naturally. Lily, for example, is a lot like me.
Yeah.
She seems to be the task-oriented kind of person. Like everyone's having a good time. We're maybe watching a movie. My girl is walking around picking up all the water bottles and making sure that everyone has their water bottle. And no one asked.
She's not even two.
She's not even two.
If your water bottle's not by you, she's bringing it to you because she knows that you need your water.
Yep. Or any other thing. Like we're walking down the stairs to go outside on the porch and she sees something that shouldn't be there and it looks messy. And she's like, oh, sucio. And she can't move. Like, you need to do something about this because it's dirty. Or manos, sucio.
Uh-huh.
And she's very serious and very focused and very determined. And she has a goofy side too, but she's a lot like me in being very task-oriented and seeing what, And so I'm like, I love that. Those are great traits. But I also want you to be in the moment and just sit back and be in that joyful moment.
And it doesn't matter how much we try to tell them.
Yeah.
If we're not modeling it, they're not going to catch it. They're going to keep doing the same things we did.
Yeah.
So it makes you be like, dang, I got to really figure this out. Because if not, they'll be better, right? The only way they're really going to have a true, huge upside, maybe even not have those traits at all, is if we do some serious work in those areas.
Yeah. Oh, so here's to work. Here's to work. And I'm also trying not to look at it too much like that because everything is a task to me. I keep telling myself I need to pour into myself. So that means that I also have to find ways to fill my cup.
Yeah.
Because if I'm filling my cup, then joy and I have things to be joyful and grateful for.
Yeah.
More things that will then naturally just pour out of me. And I want the girls. I saw recently a social media post about filling your cup and that it's not selfish to fill your cup. That if anything, it's necessary, especially for your kids. And I would dare to say for everyone else, for your husband, your wife, whoever. Because, and I'm saying this, but I'm not great at it. And there's seasons to things, right? But I do want my girls to experience a happy mom or a joyful mom. Peaceful home.
Yeah. I hear that. The fact that you're aware of it and you're working on it already means you're a million steps ahead of other people. Because like areas that I'm working on, like discipline, where I'm just like, yo, I'm so trash at this. But I could have spent my whole life never making one step towards getting better at it. You know what I'm saying? So sometimes I have to say to myself, whenever I like backtrack or I'm not doing as well as I was, or I lose momentum, or I forget the fundamentals of what I've learned, I have to be like, yo, but I'm making progress. So you should celebrate your progress as well. You celebrate the fact that you're learning how to fill your cup. I love it when you ask Kaya, is your cup full right now? And she's just like, yeah. Like she's so happy because we did arts and crafts and we ran around and it's like the perfect like combination for Kaya is a walk outside.
And Lily.
A dessert, arts and crafts, and some type of buffoonery like running around or wrestling or getting thrown into the sofa. She's like over the moon. Mm-hmm. Especially if there's dessert.
Or cafe.
And she's happy. No, but like, it's really, I know she's a little girl, but it's really that simple for us too. What are small things that you can implement into your day to get joy from? Mm-hmm. Right? If you enjoy like a small piece of chocolate and you had a very productive day, eat a small piece of chocolate as a reward to yourself. That's like kind of what Atomic Habits teaches you, like build on those habits and then give yourself a reward, right? Don't be eating a lot of chocolate because you know how that's gonna affect you. But you get what I mean? Like find small ways to add joy to your day. Small ways, small pockets. Yeah. Be intentional about that and don't be a perfectionist about it. It's like our conversation earlier, where you were talking about, oh, I haven't had time to gratitude journal. And I was like, well, maybe are you being too strict about it? Like maybe you just write down one thing. And maybe you just do it on your phone right before you go to sleep. Write down the date. One thing I'm grateful for. Today I'm grateful for blank. That takes less than a minute. You can do that. And I know that your time is crazy right now. And you were like, yeah, I could do that. And it's like, you said, I already thought mine was bite-sized. Mm-hmm. But you were trying to commit to, 5 minutes a day? Now, finding 5 minutes, it sounds like it's little, but finding 5 minutes, it's not just finding 5 minutes in your day. It's finding 5 minutes where you feel calm, mm-hmm. where you feel like you can concentrate, where you don't feel the pressure of having to do something, where it's quiet around you, where you feel at peace. A lot of stuff has to come together for those 5 minutes, but a lot less has to come together for you to be like, I am grateful for blank. So I say all that to say to everybody listening, it's like, if there's something that you're aiming for and striving towards and you haven't been able to accomplish it, make it smaller. Make it even smaller. Add gratitude to your day. Add joy to your day. Fill your cup in little ways. If there's areas you could peel back in them. Say no more. It's like a huge one.
Or say yes more.
Or say yes more. Right? So, yeah. Good place to end.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here for today's podcast episode. We hope that you guys enjoyed it, and I hope that you guys could hear me. You are absolutely amazing, and if you are still here, we want you to leave a comment down below with one of your takeaways from today's episode. What is one thing that really stood out to you, blessed you, or that you're taking away from this episode that you would share with us? We'd love to continue the conversation down in the comments, and we also hope that you guys have an amazing week. We will see you guys again in the next one. God bless you guys. Peace. Don't forget to hit all the buttons. Like, subscribe, notifications. Wait, it will come up right here. Buttons. Love you guys. Take it easy. Have a great week. Bye.